/SmartVestor.
Your business, your life. ESPN
5, 10 seconds hot.
1700.
You're listening to ESPN Radio 1700.
Good afternoon. Welcome to BISTalk, Believing is Seeing Talk Radio, where we make courageous contagious. I'm Bob Ryan.
I'm Montana Smit.
And I'm Aaron Cannata, and we've got a collaborative show in our second of our Courage to Innovate series we're doing with Startup San Diego.
And that is an event coming up on the 25th,
The 25th
to the 29th. And we're going to be broadcasting remote from
We're going to be broadcasting from the Civic Center downtown.
Yes, that's so fun. And Victoria Lakers is with us. Victoria, thanks for coming in.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
You're president of Frank Management Consulting,
Correct.
which you said before the show that of all the things you have to talk about, your own business is like the least exciting.
Yes, that is true.
Why not Victoria Management Consultant? Who's this Frank?
Frank is actually my dog.
I was kind of kidding.
I like your style.
Yes. So, but I also like the honesty. I like the meaning of Frank.
frankness.
And I
That's
think,
the answer I thought I was going to
yeah, I think most of my clients would tell me I'm extremely honest, though they also say I try and be nice when I'm giving them my honest opinion. So one of my clients calls me Chief Ass-Kicker. Again, said with love. But yeah, I liked that sort of double meaning.
So you have a consulting practice, which we'll maybe get to later on, but right now we want to talk about San Diego Startup Week.
Yes.
Or Startup San Diego Week. Wait, I got it backwards. Wait.
Startup Week San Diego.
Startup Week
Yes.
San Diego. There we go. Thank you very much.
At least one of us knows.
We've only done 18 interviews on this. You'd think I'd get it figured out by now. How are you involved with that?
So, I'd wanted to get involved back in January, and then somehow now I'm doing 4 panels. So, one of the...
You're doing what?
4 different sessions.
Oh, okay.
So-
When you said 4 panels, I thought you were talking about like panels on a wall. I was going to say, you can have panel stuff? Okay, now I'm with you.
Sessions.
There we go.
So, one of the things I'm most excited about is the keynote that you've mentioned before with Arlen Hamilton. She's interviewing one of her portfolio companies, Acquai. And then after that, I'm moderating a panel with 5 area women investors. So I think that'll be a really nice part of Startup Week, given everything else that's
See,
going
I
on.
thought you were totally going to say the most exciting part for you was we were going to be broadcasting from that.
Well, that too.
Yeah, okay.
That too.
At least so.
Well, don't lie to us.
So how or why are you involved in the Startup Week San Diego? What about it attracts you? You said you wanted to be involved, but why do you want to be involved?
I had gone a couple of years ago, and I was out of town last year, but I think it's just there's such a strong startup ecosystem here in San Diego, and being able to bring people together, from people that are just thinking about being in the startup community and just starting a company all the way through to much more established entrepreneurs, and really providing that ability to learn from people that have been there.
When you were getting started, did you have mentors? Did you have groups like this that you were involved with that helped you along the way?
No. So I actually chose to go with a franchise. So I'd gotten into private equity in 2008, which is a whole separate story. But essentially...
you got into private equity in 2008?
Yes, with no experience
Timing
in
is
finance.
amazing, isn't it?
I have spectacular timing. I also graduated right after 9/11, and I was going to move to New York and decided to go to D.C. instead. So anyway, across my career, spectacular timing. But the reason I bring it up
let
is...
us know when there's another major event coming. You're like, well, watch out for it.
Don't make the decisions. But anyway, so I was very lucky to be part of this large private equity firm through the recession and really learned how to do so much, and I am grateful for that. So when I wanted to start a company, I wanted to see how I could take some of that structure, and so decided to buy a franchise. And so the franchise was very helpful in a lot of what I did as far as...
Can I ask you about the private equity for a second? You
Sure.
started in private equity at the worst time in our economy since the Great Depression.
Yes.
You could have started at a really good time like right now. Which would you prefer? If you looked at it, would you rather start in a boom time and learn, or would you rather start in the toughest time we've had in a century and learn from that? What would you prefer?
probably the toughest time, just because I think that's really where people
I
are
like that.
differentiated. But what was particularly interesting is Apollo, despite having $35 billion in assets under management, had no investor relations team, and so it was really an opportunity. I was the fifth member of the team. When I left a few years later, we'd gone public. There were 40 people on the team, so it was really being part of this growing department and not only dealing with the best investors in the world, but also being a big part of developing the operations, how everybody worked together, implementing, for example, I was in charge of implementing our CRM. So it was, for me, it was just the perfect time, regardless of what was going on in the rest of the world. They had also just raised a huge fund.
Apollo has a pretty amazing track record, too.
Yeah.
Did you know of a company called Mount Yale out of Denver?
No.
Okay. Because I got actually involved in Apollo with some clients at that time through a company called Mount Yale. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Not that that's important.
They were a fantastic firm. So, but just that idea of really having some sort of framework. I think a lot of entrepreneurs go out and they have no idea how to do things, and if they don't have a business background, I think that's a challenge.
How does what you learned at Apollo inform what you're doing now and what you do in your management company?
I think throughout my career, even before that, before I went into finance, I was building out event teams, and so event sales departments, not only in the sales and marketing, but also in the team and how we execute. So I think in general, it was, how do you stay organized? How do you build a team? How do you put people together? And also sales and marketing, I think, is extremely important in any business, because whether it's in the cap raising, that's still sales and marketing, or whether you're moving beyond that and having a profitable company that's really growing, it's all tied together. So that combination of sales and marketing, business, and operations scaling really comes together as sort of everything but product.
In your practice, do you work with startups at all? Are they connected?
Yes.
Often I find a carpenter will want to open up a construction company, or a chef will want to open up a restaurant. So you get somebody that loves their trade, they love their craft, and they think, I really was in my own business, and they get into their own business and they realize, wow, 80% of my time is not working with a hammer, it's not baking, it's management, it's payroll, it's accounting, it's taxes. Do you find that that's really a new concept to a lot of people that are starting companies, how much overhead there is and work in the administration part?
Yeah, I think that's a lot of what I work with people on, is they're usually product people, and so they just want to do whatever it is that is their product, and they're really good at that, and either don't know how to or don't care for the finance aspect or implementing technologies and systems.
Victoria Lakers is with us, president of Frank Management Consulting. They make systems for scale. We'll talk more about that. frankmac.com is the website. That's frankmac.com, the website. You're listening to BISTalk. I'm Bob Ryan.
I'm Montana Smit.
And I'm Eric Cannata.
Don't you dare go anywhere. A lot more to come. Stay with us.
Go ahead.
Well, so far it's okay.
Okay, good.
You guys haven't left yet?
Not too sleep deprived.
Nobody's heading for the door. So maybe on the
I actually did a
segment,
fair amount of
we
work
could
with Apollo.
probe and take
You did?
Yeah,
Well,
trying
for
to
me
keep
it was a fair amount of work.
tax and
Yeah.
everything.
20 million, some of the stuff
Oh.
with
If I
one
don't, if I'm
client,
still ticking,
5 with
hit me
another.
an alarm and remind me.
Somebody who wants me to hit them.
Well, no, actually.
Tired, I need the help.
Fund 6 is one of their best
No time
performing
for nice
funds,
things
because they can
today.
come in and take things when
We must not have
people
been in that
didn't.
one.
Yeah. Fund 7, I think, I haven't followed
We
their
got in right
performance,
before the
but-
market corrected,
Okay.
which I did that. I went to private equity as a hedge against the other thing
Yeah.
because it's non-correlated. So, just wasn't a good time for hedge funds. Wasn't a good time for a lot.
Yeah. No, that's true. But yeah, they had so much dry powder that they could take a lot of things that other people couldn't buy. Where else?
Well, that's
something
really
like-
cool. I didn't know that. But if I would have waited 1 year to do the things I did with the amount of money I had available, it would have been fine.
Would you like to know that your bow tie is extremely appropriate?
It is not. Oh my.
I first got into investing 2007. I got my first mutual
You know, you
funds,
could have
and I
went
was
the
like,
rest
"Oh,
of
the
the
financial
show, and now you're
sector,
gonna
that'll
have
be
some-
perfect."
That's
Like,
I know.
nothing
No,
explains
but
in finance. And then
this
yeah,
I didn't tell them now.
Oh yeah, no,
Why
I've
did you
invested
tell
a bunch
me?
myself, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
that's a good way to just
I'd gotten my first job and like started making money and
Yeah.
started putting some aside, and I bought a bunch of mutual funds. And I was like, oh, the financial industry, like if anything happens to the financial industry, like, well, that'll never happen. And it was 2007, and then I went on a deployment to Afghanistan, and then like everything just collapsed. And I'm watching, like I could only log on like every 6 or 7 days, and I'm just watching Fidelity go downhill.
So your job, if my bow tie goes crooked, is to tilt your head to the side it's crooked so I can straighten it.
That's like what my dog does.
Funny.
Oh, Frank.
Yeah, he's
I had a dog
actually
named Bruce
Frankie,
once.
But Bruce?
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay, we're coming back in.
But
Okay.
Frankie Mac
Second
sounds too much like Fanny and Freddie.
Frankie the Frenchie. It's very, very trite. Ooh. Free testosterone check.
Welcome back. You're listening to BISTalk, Believing in Seeing Talk Radio, where we make courageous contagious. And we're talking today with Victoria Lakers, founder and president of Frank M&C for management and consulting, and she helps startups scale their business, and she has a particular focus on women-owned companies. We're glad she's behind the microphones with us today. I'm Montana Smit.
I'm Aaron Cannata.
And I'm Bob Ryan. Right back to Victoria. Thanks for coming in. Lots to talk about. We were just going through a little bit of your history that got you to the management company where you are today. Let's talk a little bit about San Diego Startup Week, or Startup Week San Diego. Yeah, I got it right that time. I think I get everything backwards.
Just Startup Week.
Yeah, Startup Week. There we go. So you're involved in this in more than just a light way. You're actually doing some pretty cool things in terms of moderating the panels or the sessions that you're talking about. You have one that you're doing on women in entrepreneurship.
Women in investing.
Women in investing.
I joined Tech Coast Angels at the beginning of the year, and in my whole push to make women founders and women investors more visible, we decided to do a women investing event with some of the women from TCA, and I think it sold out in about 3 days. We had a packed house at the law firm we were doing it at, and so we submitted that to do something similar at Startup Week as the keynote. So we have Arlen Hamilton from Backstage Capital, and it's really exciting. She is launching a new fund for $36 million, investing solely in Black females. So she's calling it's the About Damn Time Fund. I was talking
I love it.
with her assistant this morning. So really excited to have her on. And then we have Jen from Section 32, which is Bill Maris's venture capital fund. So he came out of Google Ventures. We have Ellen Chang from Warden Angels. And a few other interesting local.
If you're
women.
working with women in investing and you've been in the world for a while, what do you see as the core differences? In other words, why do you focus on women investing as opposed to just people in investing? What do women see the world differently, or what lens do they see it differently through?
I think we're doing it less because women think differently, though I think a lot of women have more empathy, or they understand businesses that maybe male investors don't. So for example, at TCA we had a pitch from a woman who has endometriosis, and so she's trying to solve that problem, which is a huge problem for women.
And no guy in the world could understand what that feels like.
Correct. Yeah. So she's a PhD. She's trying to solve her own problem. So I think women investors understand some of the
That's a good
areas
point.
that other men don't. But the point was less about women and investing in women, but in just more that every panel I go to seems to be all men. And that's fantastic, and they're doing a ton of really great things.
Yeah.
But just showing this
But it
next
is, again,
generation.
all men.
Right, and showing this next generation of and even the current generation of entrepreneurs, that there are women that have done it before, and that they can see people like them up on panels and hear about their accomplishments.
Does the movement that you see happening on a national scale right now surprise you at all?
No, I think
It's about damn time.
To quote Arlen, yes, it's about damn time. And I think so. I had started a speaker series about a year ago to highlight some of really fantastic female founders and CEOs in San Diego. And I struggled a little to find them because they're not the ones out speaking all the time. And so since I started it, I think a lot of the local groups, Evo Nexus, TIE, have done some really great women panels. So I think it's sort of everybody's getting on board now, but there's still more
How much of this movement, there's part of it where you can look out at the world and say, we need certain things to change because this is wrong and this is wrong. And then there's a certain part that's inward facing, right? And so you say, these are the things we can do to be successful, and maybe collectively women as a group are helping each other out. When you're talking with other female entrepreneurs, business owners, executives, how much of it is inward saying this is what we need to do to focus on in order to be successful ourselves versus this is what needs to change in the system and in society as a whole?
So I think there's a lot women can do. I think part of it is that visibility and saying, I'm going to try this. I think the stat is 89% of women-owned businesses don't have employees. And so most
89%?
of them... Wow. Yes. That might be an old stat.
No, but
so
that's still, even if it's half that, that's still a lot of people that don't have employees, right?
Right. And so I think there's just this view that women businesses tend to be smaller. And so the businesses I've been highlighting are much bigger and saying, look, women can and do run these businesses. So, for example, we had Kristen Carroll from Rescue Agency. So she's running a $40 million a year advertising agency here in San Diego. Super smart woman doing a lot.
And that's 40 million. Okay.
Yeah, countering obesity and smoking cessation and things like that. We had another woman, Jackie Reed, who after 30 years has been promoted to CEO of TS Restaurants, and so they do $100 million in revenue, and she has 2,400 employees. And she is just a fantastic woman. Like, you would never know that she's running this giant empire. And I think it's just highlighting women out there so that people can see that other women do that. We had Kristen Kale.
She was on the show this Wednesday.
Yeah, so I actually introduced her and Amanda after she was at our Changemaker Chat speaker, because I think she's fantastic, what she's been able to do and her personality. But just having a lot more out there so that women can see it's possible. And I think some of the conversation around the difference between men and women is counterproductive, because we're reinforcing
the fact that there is a difference in that things have to be different done for women than men.
Right. And so it's just, it's out there and you can do it, and then also providing the resources so that women and men can all learn. And I think that's where Startup San Diego plays in, is, how do I incorporate my business? How do I sales and marketing? How do I do, finance? How do I do all of this? How do I come up with an idea? And Startup Week has these really great 6 tracks that can address all of the different areas of starting a business. And so in 1 week, you can learn so much about all of the different things to be able to take that product into a company, right? If you're the chef, like, how do I take my love of food and turn it into an actual business that's going to sustain me? And then, what are the next steps? Do I build it, keep it as a lifestyle business? Do I grow it out into something big?
And you're part of the sales and marketing track, is that correct?
I am, yes.
So is everything that you're doing, all the speeches and panels, viewed under that lens that you're going to help people with sales and marketing, or are you much broader? So the keynote is broader, and then there's something else I'm doing with SDSU, which is like entrepreneur pitches. But then for the sales and marketing track, yes. So it's all about how do I... There's one thing we're doing. It's sort of a courtroom drama, and it's sales.
I'm going to ask you to hold that thought, because courtroom drama at a startup week, it doesn't sound like it fits, but I'm sure there's a really good reason it fits. Victoria Lakers is with us, president of Frank Management Consulting. FrankMac.com is the website. They make systems for scale. You're going to want to listen to the rest of the interview. This is BizTalk. I'm Bob Ryan.
I'm Montana Smit.
I'm Aaron Cannata.
Don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be right back.
If you like it on,
I was like, what are you looking? What are your notes?
That's none of your.
Everybody always wants to know what she passes. It's love notes.
You keep your eyes forward. And
hi, baby. Dinner tonight?
We
have dinner together every night. We breakfast together every morning and lunch together every afternoon. We pretty much do everything.
It's a wonderful thing.
Yeah, my old signage company, it was their whole family, and then it was the CEO. She was a CEO for an installation company, which is very rare for women in signage. But they would work together all day. They would drive to work together. They would then go home and have dinner. I'm like, man, that is a lot of time together.
I was married for 30 years to a woman that didn't like to be around me at all. So, and I don't like myself enough to be around me 24 hours a day, but somehow she does it. I think she says it's Valium. That helps.
So we had Dr. Kale on Wednesday talking about the lifestyle companies, right? And then we had Natalie Susie, if you know her, from she teaches a course on the pursuit of happiness and runs her own consulting company. And it struck me that, and maybe I'm completely wrong, but what if it turns out that the lifestyle company is actually a better path to happiness, right? Like we have all these entrepreneurs that are pursuing these monetary goals and financial goals and building these mammoth companies, but it might not be.
Excuse me, we're going to come back in just a second. What, is there anything burning in your gut right now
Nope.
that you want to talk about?
Nope.
When I started in the finance business in the 80s, late 70s, the only women that had money were the ones that had lost their husbands. You didn't run into young professionals, and now there's a lot of women that are generating their own fortunes, which is way different than the 50s and 60s where I grew up.
Yeah.
So I think there's a different world for women today. And whenever I would go to any support group at all, it was all men all the time. Every once in a while you'd see a woman there.
Support group?
For business people.
Oh.
Yeah. What?
No. I was just wondering what kind of support group.
Oh, you were digging into the personal stuff, huh? No, it wasn't that. I didn't need that kind of
No,
support.
more I was like, did men have more issues? They're like all
Well,
men
men do
support
have
groups?
a lot of issues, but a lot of them revolve around women.
Yes, 5 seconds hot.
Most of our issues are women.
Bob,
What?
you're up.
See what I mean? Told what to do all the time.
And they maybe don't seek help for it.
Welcome back. You're listening to BizTalk, Believing in Seeing Talk Radio, where we make courageous contagious. Victoria Lakers, President of Frank M&C, attributes her success to hard work, love of connecting people, and the opportunities of people taking chances on her. We're talking with her today and hearing her story. I'm Montana Smit.
I'm Aaron Cannata.
And I'm Bob Ryan. Victoria, thanks again for coming in. Lots going on. You're involved in Startup Week San Diego. You've got how many different panels you're moderating for?
I'm part of 4.
Part of 4?
Yeah.
So the one that we just talked about was the one that's for women in investing, correct?
Yes.
Now, the other ones that you're doing really quick,
The courtroom drama.
oh, that's it.
Yes.
I knew we had to get back to that.
And then there's one that's entrepreneurs pitching us in pedicabs, and I'm not quite sure where the pedicabs come in. But anyway, there's maybe lots
pedicab
of
pitch.
fun, entertaining parts of it. But the courtroom drama, yes. So we are setting it up as sort of an edutainment.
So it's going to be like a
idea.
dinner theater production.
Kind of, yes.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, so hopefully it'll actually be funny. It could fall way flat. But so the idea is that in a lot of companies, sales and marketing have this tension between each other. And so understanding what the difference is between marketing and sales. And so in our little courtroom drama, sales is suing marketing, I'm marketing, so I'm being sued. And it's sort of the...
Because marketing really doesn't understand what it's like to be out there on the front lines and sell.
Right. And then, of course...
And marketing doesn't understand why salespeople can't just sell what they market.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, we're addressing the bad lead question and what we do about that.
Ooh,
so
that's interesting.
We have a full judge, bailiff, all that kind of stuff.
Do you know how it turns out? I don't want to hear about it, but do you know how it turns out, or is it going to turn out on the spot?
It'll sort of turn out on the spot.
Really?
So,
it's kind of like our radio show. It's going to be live every time, live drama. So you might end up with something like our show.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then,
How unfortunate.
well, hopefully it'll work out well. And then we're also doing a brandathon, which is a most of the day session on Thursday, and it's pretty exciting. It's already sold out.
A brandathon?
A brandathon.
Now, I guess that's different being on a ranch versus being in startups.
Yes.
Yeah, because branding on a ranch.
Well, that was
is
quick, Bob.
What? I know. See?
That took me a second. I was like,
Don't feel bad.
why are we marketing ranches? But so we have 4 pre-selected companies that are pitching to local agencies, and then the agencies will work with each of the startups for most of the morning, and then they'll come back and the agencies will pitch their solutions back to the companies in the general session, and then there'll be a winner.
Is it going to be competition then?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
how fun is that? No, this isn't the pedicab.
No.
This is
a different. It sounds like there is some competition wrapped in all of this. Maybe only the women in investing is not a competition, but
So the pedicab, do you know what that's all about?
I
Because
don't.
pitching in a pedicab has to be your 1-minute elevator or your 30-second elevator pitch, right?
Yeah, I think that's the idea behind
Above
it.
honking horns and lights and all that. It's
Yeah.
got to be a really weird place to pitch something. But I'd pitch there.
I guess it's like the modern take on the elevator pitch, right?
Yeah.
Like you've only got however long.
Although an elevator is much more modern than a pedicab, so
yeah, okay.
maybe that's backwards.
Wait, I thought it's backwards.
Okay, so the more unique version of a pedicab, but that's true, yeah.
And we do have some pedicabs in San Diego, which are really delightful.
We do. We
Yeah.
have a lot, yeah.
So are you going to pitch one on a pedicab?
No, I'll be
Okay.
judging the pitches.
You're gonna be
So
judging
I
the
think
pitches.
I get to see about 30 pitches over the course of the session.
So have you
fun.
done this before? Have you judged on these kind of pitches before?
Yes. Yeah.
Do you have a sense of how hard it is to tell somebody they didn't win? I know when you judge and you pick the winner, they're always excited. But if you have 30 people and there's one winner, there's 29 crestfallen people. How do you deal with that?
I think that's sort of part of being an entrepreneur, right? You're going to be said no lots of times. I definitely know in capital raising, I had like 800 people I was talking to with the idea that maybe like 10 of them were. Same with sales and marketing, right? Every no gets you to closer.
I always look
yes.
for that list broker that had a list
Yeah.
of people that would buy on the first pitch every time.
Yeah, I don't think
That would be a great list.
that ever happens. I
Yep.
think most sales are made on the 7th call or
Right.
something like that, and most salespeople fail because they stop calling after 2 or 3.
I imagine the opportunity to give back is really a big thing for you and part of the reason you're doing this. Is there something else, you work with a lot of entrepreneurs, will you have interaction with is it possible that you get business out of doing this? Will you continue to stay involved with any of the entrepreneurs potentially? Because you've done this before, right?
Yeah, so I mentor a number of businesses here, and so it sort of depends on the panel or potential investments. I find San Diego is sufficiently small that you see a bunch of the companies. For example, the ones that have applied for the Brandathon, I knew about 75% of them because I've seen them through other areas. I think the pedicab pitches are very, very early stage, like more of a like napkin kind of thing. But I really do it, to give back, because I think that so many people have given me opportunities. I joke that I haven't been qualified for any of the roles I've had. And so people gave me a chance, and then...
But obviously people do, still.
Yeah.
What do you attribute that to? You just said, I'm not qualified for the roles I'm playing, yet people take a chance on you. What do they see in you? Do you know what it is about what you're doing or how you work that allows them to take that chance, even if you don't feel like you're necessarily qualified?
I think it's that entrepreneurial spirit and enthusiasm. For example, with my business, I won the largest new project in franchise history for my franchise. And it was purely because I asked. And I was like, do you mind if I quote that? And I just kept going with the whole process. And then they called to tell me I'd won the contract, and I get off the phone and I uttered an expletive very loudly and then figured out how on earth to create. I have no idea how to make a sign, how to permit a sign, how to install a sign.
So you got a deal and didn't know how to provide for it.
I had
Ready,
no
fire, aim.
clue.
Wow.
And
People really do take a chance on you.
yeah,
then.
I mean, I had no clue what I was doing when I got into private equity either, but they knew that I would do whatever it took to make it happen. Same thing when I started in events. Same thing, no idea what I was doing. I got sales books and read them and figured out how to sell by myself.
You talked about the entrepreneurial spirit being very exciting and energizing kind of
Yeah.
thing. Is that your passion? Is the start part of a business your passion, as opposed to, say, a midstream or mid-cycle in the business life cycle?
I think I'm just driven by learning and that opportunity to try something new and prove something. I think I'm also a bit of a hunter. So, what can I go out and create or bring to fruition that didn't exist before?
I'm a hunter that would starve to death if I didn't have people skin and cook. Because I will hunt all day long, and if something else comes along to hunt, I will do that. I will never skin and cook.
Well, it's an ecosystem, right?
Yeah,
so
I know.
You need all the different players,
You
the
do.
hunters
Which
and the cooks.
will be provided through Startup Week San Diego.
Yeah.
Yeah. The website is frankmac.com.
Yep.
People can find out about you, get a hold of you this way. Thank you so much, Victoria Lakers.
My pleasure. Thank you so much
Whew.
for having me.
This is so exciting. I can't wait till Startup Week happens, but we got a lot to do to get there. You're listening to BISTalk, Believing in Seeing Talk Radio. I'm Bob Ryan.
I'm Montana Smit.
I'm Aaron Cannata.
Up next, Black San Diego. Great story. You'll want to hear this. Stay with us.
Welcome back. You're listening to BizTalk, Believing in Seeing Talk Radio, where we make courageous contagious. Speaking of courageous, are you courageous enough to see how the sausage is made right here in the studio? Come backstage with us. Watch us on our BISTalk Radio Facebook page. That's BISTalk. See us with our guests and watch this overly oiled machine in action. And by all means, comment, like, and share us. I'm Montana Smit.
I'm Aaron Cannata.
And I'm Bob Ryan. Glad to have you with us. We have a guest with Black San Diego. rbsd.com is the website. And I think you fooled me with your name. I do, because I heard you say it one way and then I heard you say it another. It's Sheri.
Sheri.
I just figured I'd say it super fast, and if I messed it up, nobody would notice. Sheri Hopkins.
Sheri Hopkins.
Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having us.
Tell us a little bit about Black San Diego. What is this?
So Black San Diego creates a platform for Black-owned businesses, entrepreneurs, and professionals to strengthen and empower our community.
And for those listening that can't see you,
right?
You're Black.
Yes.
Yes. Sometimes.
I love that. You got a good sense of humor.
So we started 2 years ago, and it started it's 3 founders. So it's myself, Tinicia, and Olivia. And how it just started with Tinicia just asking a question on Facebook of where are the Black-owned businesses. And at that time, actually had an idea where I wanted to hold a networking event for Black-owned businesses. And then Olivia kind of had a similar idea. And I reached out to Tinicia. Olivia kind of reached out to Tinicia. So she said, hey, let's all meet up at our house. We met up at her house, we sat around her kitchen table, and we created Black San Diego.
Wow. We just talked about women and being an entrepreneur as a woman. Now we're talking about being an entrepreneur as a Black.
Right.
The funny thing is when you look at the businesses, you're right, there aren't a lot of Black-owned businesses.
Right.
At least not here.
Right.
I mean, if you go to the South, yes. But,
right.
So what was the result of the Facebook posting? Do you know?
Well, our original list actually had 20 businesses on it, but now here we are 2 years later, and we have over 300.
300.
Right.
Wow.
Did you guys sit down and create some action items? I mean, what was it you thought you could do to help promote Black business owners and help provide them, a platform?
Right. So we just thought we would hold an event, a networking event, which that was our plan, and we did it, and we had over 100 people show up. And we thought we were going to do
That's fun. Was it your first one? You had over 100 people?
Yeah, it was over 100. And
were you giving money away free or something?
No.
They recognized the same thing you
right. And so we thought we were just going to do this one time and be done. And they kept saying, don't stop this, keep doing it, we need it. So we kept doing it, and then we just kept doing it, and then here we are. We actually have a Facebook page of over 12,000 people on the page.
No kidding. That's pretty good over a 2-year period to build that.
Right.
Have you formalized what the issues are around Black-owned businesses? Do you know why there aren't more at this point in time, or are you still working on figuring that out?
There are a lot. I think it's the point that we don't know where they are. And so that's kind of where we
so it's not that businesses are not owned by Blacks, it's that you don't know where they're at, because it's not easily identifiable. When you see a business name, it doesn't say Black owned it.
Oh, that's a really good point. I never thought
you
about
wouldn't
that.
know that unless you knew the owner.
How important is it? A lot of times you just think when you look around at the world, just to see somebody else like you doing something, right? So Barack Obama was just president, and now all of a sudden the world opens up and we recognize we can have a Black president in the U.S.
Right.
Is it the same thought with businesses? Just if we all saw all the exciting things that Black business owners were doing, other people would be more inclined to try and do the same?
I think it is, and I think also by us having our page, people can see there is businesses that look like me, so then that way I can branch out and do even more. And that's what it has come down to. Businesses are growing, people are starting new businesses, and it's as simple as asking a question on their page like, hey, I'm looking for an OBGYN, or hey, I'm looking for a therapist, because yes, I can go to Kaiser and get a therapist, but I want somebody that looks like me to probably understand me a little bit better.
I asked if you had identified what stops people. You said they're there. It's not that they're being stopped, but you just didn't know where they're at. Now that you're finding the Black-owned businesses, are you seeing any challenges particular to Black people?
The challenges, there are some challenges. I think a lot of the challenges is not knowing how to start the business, or even like Victoria has said, and I think listen to her, it kind of goes across the line of, I have a product, but I don't know how to run the business side of that. So that's what we kind of face, the obstacles with that. We kind of look at them, you have a great product here, but where's the business aspect? Where's the customer service? Where's the financial part? You know, are your books okay? Is your taxes okay? And that's the challenges that we see, you know, and just finding them and just kind of helping them grow like there.
So are you focused on the Southern California area right now?
We are. We've actually had people reach out to us from Atlanta, like, hey, we need something like this here. We have people from Vegas, hey, we need something like this. Right.
Yeah.
So we're like, you know, we can go, you know, anywhere and do this, but right now we're just doing Southern California at the moment.
What are you seeing as a result of the networking? Obviously, you've been doing this a little bit of time, a couple of years. Have you worked with people that have actually seen a benefit from the networking that's coming in, or is this just getting off the ground for you?
No, we've actually seen a lot. We have Finn's, it's a black-owned, she is a woman who owns a gym in La Mesa, and she said that she's gotten employees from our page. She's actually got new members. So anytime you see, hey, I need a personal trainer, they're always recommending her. So she has been growing. The yoga studio has been growing. We have restaurants that have been growing. We actually have a new restaurant that's downtown that we went out for a premiere tasting. They're growing. So it's there, and we're just, we see that it's working in everybody's favor.
What about access to capital? We've been hearing a lot about women and how that exists in their own space, and they're just starting to really have groups that are saying, hey, this is how we need to prop up, you know, other female entrepreneurs. Is it similar in the black community to say, hey, these are places you can go to try to raise some money, to try to get capital?
I think that's kind of where we're at. I think even for us, of trying to get an actual physical business, it's hard for us to get the capital. There are a bunch of programs out there, and we've actually started some programs, but for some reason there's a block. So then it's like, how do we move past that block? And it's like, if somebody like us is having that same issue, then it's probably others that are having the same issue in our community. So how can we overcome that hurdle and get the access?
You know, Aaron asked a question last segment about whether it was an external change that had to happen or an internal change that had to happen. Mm-hmm. Obviously, we have issues in the United States that are external, that have to get changed.
Right.
How much of what you see is internal that the person that's running the business needs to modify their thinking?
I think it's on their end as well, because I see things, it's like, you shouldn't do that. Like, that's not how it works.
So you are providing some help to some of these.
Right. Yes, we are.
Sheri Hopkins, we're out of time already. We got two of your co-founders coming on. Black San Diego RBSD, for Black San Diego, rbsd.com is the website. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're listening to BISTalk, Believing and Seeing Talk Radio, where we make courageous contagious. I'm Bob Ryan.
I'm Montana Smit.
And I'm Aaron Cannata.
We're going to be right back with more. Stay with us.
Hey, Aaron. Yeah. Hey, what you was trying to get out of the conversation is that there's not a actual entrepreneurial infrastructure for black people in San Diego. Mm-hmm. So that's what, as me as the leader of the diversity and inclusion, is trying to promote. So that's
perfect.
Maybe up a little.
We can either. And we might want to spell out the...
Kristen Hale and I used to work together in the 80s.
Oh, down a little.
Yeah, when she was a baby.
I started listening to that session, and then I had to go do some things, but...
It was hilarious because she had a doctor in front of her name now, so I did not recognize the name. It just... She walked in, it's like, holy cow, it's you. Yep.
You might want to spell out our one time, because I'm hearing it on air.
Sounds like
I would say RBSD,
Yes,
and that's what I would try to just let them know who you are.
Thank you.
We have to talk really slow.
Okay, obstacles.
Tinicia Smith.
Yes.
Fun show today. Lots of energy. I love it.
They're usually less.
No.
You guys keep
No, but there's a lot of people actually in the studio. Usually we have two, maybe sometimes three. But all these
Yeah, this is
people.
great.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, you can laugh and clap and pretend it's like a real studio. Yeah.
Hold up your applause sign.
Now, if we actually had any ratings, we'd be in the studio next door. Because they don't even talk to me. They don't even know who I am. Of course, I've only been here a year. Maybe I just don't stand out.
That keeps wanting to lift.
I know.
It's like a boat that's like, yeah.
It's the first time I've worn this one.
By the time we...
It's like the cartoons where they spin around.
We should get them one of those.
I don't like the pure silk.
Okay, we have 50 seconds to come in. Go ahead and put your headset on.
Do you really have both hands?
No. Actually, back maybe when I rode. And
That's right,
show
you would have them,
jumping,
right,
it's
yeah.
where-
5 seconds. Welcome back. You're listening to BizTalk, Believing is Seeing Talk Radio, where we make courageous contagious. Black San Diego empowers and provides a platform to black businesses and entrepreneurs in San Diego. And we have 3 of their cohorts with us today. Up on the mic, next is Tinicia Smith. I'm Montana Smit.
I'm Aaron Cannata.
And I'm Bob Ryan. Welcome back. Black San Diego is in studio with us. I gave you the website is rbsd.com, and Aaron, you pointed out that people could interpret it as the letter RBSD, but it's O-U-R, as in our plural. Is that right?
Yes.
English is not my forte today. I didn't even know why I said that. It's not relevant. rbsd.com. Tinicia Smith, thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having us.
You're one of 3 co-founders of Black San Diego.
Right.
And we just talked with Sheri Hopkins about the kind of the beginnings of it. Your involvement in this now is talking about some of the obstacles that are in front of people.
Right.
Now, is this obstacles that you have in helping people, or obstacles that black folk might have running a business?
I mean, both.
Both.
Even when we started, just our name being Black San Diego, we had obstacles. Like, we had several people that did not want to make our banners or questioned why.
Seriously?
Oh,
Seriously.
wow.
So just
It's hard to believe that. I mean, I
that's why we're here to bring it to you. Yeah.
You would think after all these years that wouldn't be a problem, but still today there is.
Absolutely.
And we see it in the news a lot now,
Right.
which is kind of a shame.
Yeah.
I think we would have gotten by this.
I mean, we found, and that was one thing, we were going to businesses who were not black owned, and when we finally found a black owned business that made banners, it was no question. There was no
No, if they didn't make your banner for you, you're in trouble. When you see the news today, and you see the things that are happening in race relations, what does that do to you?
Makes me want to work harder.
Does it really? It does.
Absolutely.
So you get the energy to go on and solve that and work harder towards
Right.
it. It's not like it sets you back and freezes you because you're afraid.
Right.
I like that about you.
Right.
Yeah.
It's called tenacity, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Rock on.
It's called Tinicia tenacity.
Right.
Oh,
See,
there you
that's
go.
what I even like
Nice.
that one better. So the obstacles in front of you have to do with race relations on one hand. What are some of the other obstacles you're running into?
Like Sheri said before, we have over, I believe now we have 12,500 members on the Facebook page, and it's trying to keep things positive and keep them going in the correct direction. Like what we're having here is a platform for businesses and trying to keep everybody on the same page. 12,000 members, like we are here to promote businesses, not to slam and
that's
put
interesting because
down.
I don't enjoy Facebook nearly as much as I do LinkedIn, even though we're broadcasting on Facebook Live, because you do see a lot of negative stuff come through, and you see it from all sides.
Yes.
And I'm guessing you're experiencing that on your page as well.
We do, but we have built a very good foundation. Like we set the tone early in the page, and now we have members who maybe one of us 3. We can't even get to all of the posts at all the time, but there are other members who are managing the site. Like, hey, this is not what this page is about, and that's because we started off with a foundation of positiveness.
It sounds like between all other cities reaching out to you guys and having a real strong core Facebook following, it's validation that you guys are doing something right and important and something that's wanted. Do you have any statistics as far as the percentage of black business owners versus other ethnicities? Like, is it lower on average, and what an overall goal would be? I mean, what do you guys set out? What are you setting out to accomplish?
Well, we want the black dollar to rotate in our community longer. I don't know how true it was, but it was something like a couple of hours that the black dollar rotates within black businesses, and within other races they rotate much more. So we want to get it to where our dollar is being rotated within our community for a longer period of time.
Do you have a plan to do that? Because geographically, it might be difficult if it's a local service provider necessarily, but do you have a model or some way that you're looking at that says, this is how we keep the dollars within our community, at least for a little bit longer?
So going to not only our page, but our businesses first. Before you seek out another business, go to a Black-owned business first. And people are saying, well, we don't have them here. And then we're saying, yes, we do. Look at our directory.
So connecting people with local
So the
Black-owned
fact that
businesses.
when you started, you only knew of 20, I think the number was.
Right.
Now you have like 300. So other people would have exactly that same problem.
Yes.
They might need a dry cleaner and not know which are Black-owned.
Correct.
But if they have a list and they have a directory, then they could
Go there first. Keep spending your dollar there so that we can continue to circulate.
Is
this
that what you
dollar.
provide then? Can people go to your Facebook page and get a list of locally Black-owned businesses?
Yes, and they can go to the web page as well, and there's a directory listing of businesses that are Black-owned.
Other challenges that you might run into.
Trying to decipher the good versus the bad businesses, like giving the people, like we said, we're having a preferred list rolling out, so just giving them the resources to select good businesses so they're not turned off if they get a bad
Are you
service.
talking about a well-run business versus a
good
poorly run
customer
business?
Correct. Yeah. So a lot of times within our community, like if they have one bad experience with the Black-owned business, then they don't want to go back again. And it's like give us a chance, give it another try. You may have just had a bad experience. Try again, type of deal.
Geographically, you're focused on the Southern California area right now,
Yes.
like south of Orange County, LA, kind of thing.
Yes, San Diego.
So if somebody's in a geographic area where it's not heavily populated by blacks, how do they get to the Black-owned businesses then? I mean, you have the directory, so maybe they have to drive a little bit more to find the right dry cleaner or the right service provider?
You might have to do a little digging. I mean,
and you're okay with that?
San Diego is 6%. Well, that's the last I've heard was 6% black. So we are not heavily populated here, but we are making that movement. Like this is what you can do. If you're saying that you want to support black businesses, we are providing you the resource, so there's no excuse.
Now, you've looked at other areas of the country, because the South has, a much higher population of blacks.
Right.
Do they have the same problems there? I mean, is it just the same problems on a larger scale? Do you know?
I cannot speak to that. I know.
We'll make it up.
Well, I would believe so, because it seems, like you said, when you turn on the news, you're still seeing that things are happening globally to black people. So I would believe so.
So we're talking a lot about how consumers would find black-owned businesses, but for the businesses, for the entrepreneurs, for somebody who wants to start a business, are you also providing links to like resources like the Small Business Association?
Right.
Obviously, Startup San Diego helps out startups, just educating the population on here's how you would go about starting.
And here's who you can go to. These are some mentors that you may need to reach out to.
It's a good thing your answer was yes, because if you had said no, it would have been very disappointing. Tinicia Smith, Black San Diego, ourbsd.com is the website. Go there. Tinicia, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Up next, we're going to be talking with the third co-founder, Olivia Green. Stay with us. You're listening to BizTalk. We'll be right back.
Okay, Olivia, you're up. Good job.
The future.
That's it. Here comes the future.
It always sounds bold when I say it in my head. It's all in all caps.
Like Star Wars thing going on.
Is that going out?
Okay, let's adjust your volume. Put that on if you need it up or down.
Let's see if I did this right on the bow.
That's good.
Whoa.
That's it.
Nailed it.
I think it's the best.
Makes the show more interesting. Are you recording this? You should be.
I am.
Okay. You just want to impress people that you've been to ESPN studios, right? We had an intern that was works at Panera, and all of his friends didn't believe that he actually was an intern with an ESPN studio. Till that he made him watch the Facebook.
That's right. I remember that.
Remember, Andrew?
Yeah, Andrew.
I worked at a TV station in high school, but we didn't really have social media back then.
No.
So
High school for you was like a week ago?
yes.
My kids are
Before
older.
social media.
My kids are older. I have one younger than you and two older. That's really weird. Everybody gets younger and younger. I don't know how that happens. Another made-up word.
You're going to be talking about the launching the preferred businesses? Okay, the rating system. Okay, good.
What is that you just said?
The latest news on their company about launching the preferred business list in the rating system.
Okay. I grew up in Virginia and Maryland, and actually my dad pastored a black church when I was a kid. So I didn't know I was white until somebody called me a honky. And it was like, whoa, I went to my mom, what's a honky? She goes, I don't know, son. So I had to start asking around, and I found out I was white. It's like, really?
5 seconds.
I did not know that.
5 seconds, Bob. Welcome back. You're listening to BISTalk, Believing is Seeing Talk Radio, where we make courageous contagious. We'd like to take this moment to thank our award-winning engineer, Jeff Bilodeau, our show music by Derek Caudette, our interns, Sarah Andrew, Sunit, and Dan, who's in studio with us today. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We couldn't do it without you. I'm Montana Smit.
I'm Aaron Cannata.
I'm Bob Ryan. Welcome back. Olivia Green is in studio with us now. She is the third of 3 co-founders of Black San Diego. Olivia, thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having us.
Of course, you would have felt very left out if your 2 co-founders came on and you didn't.
Yes, forget me.
So you've heard the conversation so far. What are you thinking now?
The future of Black San Diego, where we're headed next.
So let me think. Are you a non-profit or for-profit?
For-profit.
So franchising?
Yes.
Spreading out throughout the world?
Yes.
Because you're those black people all over the world, right?
Yes. We're everywhere.
And I'm guessing a lot of them have the same problems that here in San Diego, right?
Yes.
So what are you, when you look to the future, what are you thinking about?
Well, actually today we're going to be launching right after we leave here the preferred list. So those are the businesses that we found.
Is this the official announcement?
Yes,
I love
it is.
official announcements.
All right.
We have an official announcement.
Yes.
You're launching or you're releasing your preferred business list.
Yes.
How does one get on that? I've got $100.
Pay your way for that.
Well, daggone. Do you actually vet them for this? I mean, did you put them through some kind of process?
Yes. So we actually have kind of been like secret shoppers. So we've been customers of our.
Have you ever done it?
Yes.
You have secret shopped?
Yes.
Huh. That must be fun.
It is, because no one knows what's going on.
I know.
Like, this is noted.
I know.
Sounds mischievous.
So you actually do vet them.
Yes.
And you spend some time going to their sites. And so what businesses, or can you even talk about it? You haven't released
We haven't released the list
So we can't
yet.
name the businesses yet.
No.
Do you have a favorite? Don't tell me the name of it. Do you have a favorite?
Boy, you're good. You're doing one of these.
I can say one of them.
It's yours, isn't it?
That, of course, that's number one. But one is we both used for as a personal trainer. So
What's that?
I can't say that.
No.
That
What's
business
personal
name.
training?
Working out.
It's a joke. I
Yeah.
just, Because I train in eating and sleeping. That works really well.
We gotta get in shape.
Where are people going to find this list? Is it on your website? On your
It will
Facebook
be on
page?
our Facebook, Instagram. We'll have links there, and it'll also be posted. The list will be released on our website.
Aren't there going to be some disappointed people?
That's so they've got to get their business on the preferred
See,
list.
everybody's so hardcore now. I worry about everybody's emotions. How do you say no to somebody? You didn't make the cut. Sorry.
But
Go
so
back and
people
do
can't
better.
bribe their way onto the
No.
list. How do you guys make money?
If you're not taking bribes, you have to have a model to make money. Well, you're right on with that one.
Well, we do have a subscription for our membership for our website and our business. But to know a fun fact, an interesting fact about us, we weren't making any money. We started this.
Neither are we. We're right in the same boat. We have no budget for anything.
But we started this just for our passion for our community, and now we're moving into
You know,
think about.
And we're living in a time of conscious capitalism.
Yes.
A lot of people are starting businesses to say, how can I change the world, and then figure out ways to monetize it
Yes.
going forward. So it sounds like that's what you guys
Yes,
do.
this is what we did.
I'm assuming you get to meet a lot of the people that are participating in this, the businesses that are on the list. What impact do you see from the business owners that are involved in this now? Is it a feeling of inclusion now, a feeling that I'm not alone?
Yes.
There's more people around me like me? Because I think who was it that was just on? Tinicia just said, I think the 6% of the population, right? That's not a huge percentage of the population in San Diego. So somebody could be black and be very isolated.
Yes, and you feel like you're alone. But here we're setting this where you're not. We're here with you, and they see us out, and we don't even have to have our shirts on. And someone's like, "Hey, aren't you Black San Diego?" And then they're giving us hugs. They want us thank you.
I'm still stuck without your shirt. What?
Yes. Their shirt on with their logo.
Oh, the logo shirt. That's it. Okay. I was wondering if you didn't have a shirt on why you're talking about business.
I gotta reel you back in.
So the business owners that you're meeting and they're thinking about this, they're appreciative of this, right? But they're actually seeing some increase in business as well.
Oh yes, I mean, Sheri talked about the business owner that had a fitness center. She started off in a small complex. She was able to double the size through the page. She gets most of her business from our page. Women just saying, they're African American women, they're like, it's an all women's gym, and they've been going to her gym, and she's seen that increase, and she's doubled it. I saw someone, they did a workshop and said that, the reason why we're all here is because of Black San Diego.
You mentioned there's going to be a subscriber portion of this. Are you going to have to subscribe to gain access to the preferred list?
Yes.
Okay, and what other things do you have in mind for the subscribers? What will they have access to that other people who just visit your site?
Also our blogs, so give you a real, just to get information, things that our newsletter, things that are going on. In the future, we're having events, workshops. So like you talked with Tinicia about the resources that we provide. So we're going to be starting doing workshops to help them get to that point where, okay, I want to start my business, but you need to get a business license and know that you've got to pay taxes too, and what goes along with that,
You actually have to pay taxes?
Yes, you have to pay.
Okay, so we just talked about women in business and women entrepreneurs. Do you see in the Black community a disparity between men entrepreneurs and female entrepreneurs?
Actually, African American women are the largest women group that are becoming entrepreneurs right now.
Seriously?
Yes.
So you're seeing a surgence of this, or not resurgence, but a surge of female Black business owners.
Yes.
Do you have an idea what's the cause?
It's all Black San Diego, I'm pretty sure.
You're doing your job.
I think we're just seeing a need and just saying, like, stop waiting around and we're just going to do it.
So that's it. It's as simple as that. There's nothing more complicated.
No, you was up to something.
That's it.
Just do it.
Yes.
We have had a Black president, and I really the person I want to interview the most is Barack Obama.
Me too.
Really?
Yes.
So we could interview him together.
Yes.
The main question I want to ask him is, did he know he was Black when he decided to run for president? Because it never came up in his presidency. And I'm imagining he looked at himself in the mirror and realized he was different from all other. So how did that inform his decision to run? I would really like to hear that from him. The other thing I want to know is, will he make a prank phone call with me to the White House and ask for President Trump? Because I want to call the White House and say, I want to speak to President Trump. I've got President Obama here.
I want to be there too.
I know that would be a great interview.
You back, definitely.
Olivia Green, thank you so much.
Thank
Black
you.
San Diego. RBSD, that's OURBSD.com is the website. Go there. You've been listening to BISTalk, Believing and Seeing Talk Radio, where we make courageous contagious. I'm Bob Ryan.
I'm Montana Smit.
And I'm Aaron Cannata.
Go do something good for yourself, folks. Take that mad leap. Bye-bye.
All right. That's a great job. I'm going to run to the rest of
That
the
goes right fast, doesn't it?
Yes.
We don't get ovations. You could have stood up though.
Okay, do the wave.